Good afternoon. Are you able to hear me?
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Are you able to see me? That's
No.
let's see. How about
No,
now?
just a black screen.
Hey,
There
Brett.
you
How are you?
go. Good. I thought, what's going on? And then I realized it's the filter over my camera. So perfect. Well, good. Happy Halloween. A day late.
How was your Halloween?
It was good. It's brutally cold though compared to last week. So
Yeah.
Can you guys see or hear me?
I
I can
can.
I can hear you. I can't see you, John, though. Brett, is
Well,
there a way to put everybody on screen?
Let's see.
Please,
I don't
no.
need to be seen. Hi, Steve.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't. I'm not as good with Zoom, and I
All
don't know if I
good.
can actually. Yeah, I don't know if everyone's cameras have to be on or how I
oh, Brett,
force you to Zoom. That's
your pretty face is good
as
enough.
yeah, as long as you can see me. There you go. Well,
Let's-
is this everyone, or are we waiting on anybody?
Can't see who's on. How many do we have? Who do we have on?
We've got Brian, John, Kristen, Linda, and Steve, and Lisa.
Lydia?
Lydia, Steve, and Lisa.
Yes. All right. Perfect. I
Mike
think we're
said he
good.
was joining. What about Lisa?
Lisa's on.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. All right.
Cool.
We can go ahead
Perfect.
and
So,
start. I mean, we can send it to, I mean, if Mike's in the middle of something, he was going to jump on. We can always watch the video later.
yes,
Yep.
I've got it recording so I can share it with you afterwards as well. So,
Perfect.
well, perfect. Well, I'll quickly introduce myself to those who have not met me. I had the chance to meet Kristen and John about 2 weeks back in Kansas City, but my name is Brett Delgard. I'm the business development manager for Missouri, Iowa, and Kansas. Have spent the last 5 years working on board Viking vessels, 10 years in the industry, traveled all around the world, have had the chance to really experience the operations on board through hotel management as well as shore excursions. So I know our product quite well for ocean expedition as well as Mississippi. And I've had the chance to learn a lot about our river ships, and I know quite a bit about our river ships. And very soon I will be able to join on one of those cruises. But really want to just be a bit of knowledge and helpful resource to each one of you for bookings, and wanted to give you a little bit more of an update and some insight on Viking. I would assume that all of you have a nice background, but we'll kind of go over some of the basics and then jump into a little bit more information, and then even touch on some of the upcoming items that MOA and Brenco are going to be able to do through November and December of this year, and then looking at next year as well. So let me share my presentation here. There we are. Are you able to see that?
We are.
Okay, perfect. So really a lot that Viking is able to offer. We're able to sail to all 7 continents, 88 countries, over 400 ports around the world, really just touching nearly every aspect of the globe, always looking to grow. One of the nice things is that the last question on our surveys to our guests is, where would you like to go next? So we are constantly growing and reaching every corner that we can as we travel. We have our river ocean expedition in now Mississippi. We have over 100 ships now around the world with all of our vessels, and again, we are continuing to grow. It's an incredible product. Hopefully you're finding that the guests see the same thing. With that, we have over 10,000 employees, revenue quite strong, annually about 3 billion So we have quite the stream coming in. I recently had somebody ask some questions about the strength of the company through its finances. It is quite strong. It is backed by a single owner, Torsten Hagen, but he does have some others who contribute financially, and so very strong. And our guests really continue to be the main factor in that revenue. Almost 500,000 guests each year, and a huge number that continue to return. With our guests, the big thing is their feelings. So we were just named this year Condé Nast Travel and #1 for the Condé Nast Traveler for oceans, expedition, and river. So we are the only ones that have both had Condé Nast and Travel and Leisure #1 across the board. So we're very proud of how our guests and you all rate us as an overall partner, as well as cruise line. So very proud of that. Our philosophy is that we're not everything to everyone. We're very destination focused, but we want to really emphasize, like-minded individuals and giving them a chance to travel together. So we have educated, affluent English-speaking guests, and we're not looking to serve every single guest around the world. We really want to focus in on those, as I said, educated, affluent, and English-speaking. We're the thinking person's cruise, not the drinking person's cruise, though we do serve some very nice wines on board. Our goal is to provide education and enrichment throughout the voyage, whether that's on board or ashore. So you'll see that around the ship, there are all kinds of information, our libraries. We'll have presentations and lectures. A lot of our guests really want to know before they go. So we have resources even before. Viking.tv is one of those where guests can go on. They can learn more about the itineraries. So really, our guests, and I'm sure spend a lot of time researching, developing, finding all of that information about their itineraries before they make the choice, and then as they get leading up to the itinerary and the cruise itself. So very much a thinking person's cruise. Understated elegance. We find ourselves in the luxury category, but we don't consider ourselves luxury. Understated elegant is more of the line that we try to follow. There are some other lines out there that have the butler services and the full experience, and we don't want to have that. We want to make sure that our guests are able to enjoy the fine details, but also have a very high level of service, but not over the top butler service. So we want those elegant touches. We want the nice clean lines of the Scandinavian designs, and our guests really do enjoy all of those elements, and you'll see them as they come back every time. And the other thing is that all of our ships are designed with the same features. So the guests become very comfortable with that, and it feels like home to them. Our staterooms are a big part of that, and we do find, especially on our ocean and expedition, that the size of our staterooms are unparalleled to any of our competitors. Our river ships have a unique design, and I'll get to that in a bit, with how they've been able to offset a little bit of the main corridor, giving a little bit more space. The design of the long ships allows a little bit more space overall, but the ocean vessels, especially if you ever have the chance to see our Explorer suites and Owner suite, it's rivals some of the nicest hotels on land, and you're able to enjoy that on the ship. So really a wonderful way to see the world, unpacking only once. And then within our staterooms, there's a lot of details that we're able to accomplish. Mr. Hagen likes to keep things very simple. And with that, you'll see things like the remote control, almost similar to that original Apple device, the iPod, that just had that one button. And we try to keep it simple with things like that. Square waste bins, so nothing falls behind on those rounded corners. We try to make it very convenient for our guests as well as our crew so that they're able to focus on the service and not having to, to pick up little things. Square back chairs, gentlemen's coats, the way that they sit on some chairs create a crease. So we were able to design chair backs that gentlemen can place their coats on the back of those chairs in the restaurant without having any issues and creases. One thing that I truly miss from not being on board when I was a hotel general manager, I had a nice guest bathroom, and so I had heated floors and anti-fog mirrors, and that is something that really is incredible. So the mirrors in the bathrooms never fog up, and those heated floors, especially on winter days, you really can appreciate elements like that. With the vessels as well, and the beautiful design is also a focus on the destinations and the food. So we're able to bring that cuisine in to the dining rooms, to the World Cafe on our ocean and expedition ships, able to really highlight those local and culinary experiences that you travel for. So, if we're in Germany, we're going to have our Taste of Germany. We're going to bring in those Bavarian meats as well as the drinks. Anywhere that we travel, we really want to make sure that those regional dishes are highlighted. Our chefs will go out in many of the ports of call and go to markets. On some of our itineraries, we're able to take guests and do culinary experiences where they go to the markets with the chef, come back and cook on board. But in general, we're able to purchase locally and then highlight all of those items in our dining room with the main items. Now, a lot of the things that we do right, and we're very proud of them. And one of the things that we do right is the things that we don't do, or the things that we're not. And so a lot of our guests truly enjoy the elements on board because of the things that we don't have. So we don't have children, we don't have casinos, we don't have umbrella drinks, so we don't have that drink of the day with the fruit all hanging out of it. We really want to keep things a little bit more classy and sophisticated. We don't have a photographer chasing you around and then trying to sell you those pictures for outrageous costs. The art auctions, charges for Wi-Fi, inside staterooms. We do have a small smoking section on each one of our vessels, but in general, you won't see smoking on the vessels, and no formal nights, though our guests generally do enjoy kind of almost a country club casual. You can see in the pictures here. Many of our guests do enjoy looking smart or kind of a business casual, but it's not required to be dressed up or feel uncomfortable because you don't come with a coat or a more formal dress. So it's very nice. And then the no nickel and diming. So on board our vessels, there's very few upcharges. So we have many of our guests that are able to travel the whole itinerary without spending a single dime, another additional amount of money. The only really upcharges at all would be your shore excursions if you're looking at privileged access, or that silver beverage package, or on our ocean vessels, the spa. So very, very nice to experience kind of an all-inclusive overall for our guests. Now, our guests, as I mentioned, are that educated, affluent, English speaking, 55 plus. So what we see as the baby boomers here in America generally is that main demographic. We do have some outside of North America from the United Kingdom, Australia, as well as Canada, but the main focus is North American guests that are very educated and curious minded. So where they come from, a lot of our guests do cross over from some of the other premium, as well as I mentioned, the luxury brands. Now we're seeing that as much as they're coming from there, they're also complementing some of those itineraries. So they're going on 2 to 3 trips since COVID. And so we see a lot of guests who may still be going on these other brands are now joining and going on a Viking cruise with some of their friends and family as well. So we see the guests who generally are in suites on some of the Holland America, Princess or Celebrity. They're coming over and they're enjoying the all veranda staterooms of Viking. We also see a lot of guests that come over from the Silver Seas and Seabourns, Oceania, that really do enjoy that same level of service as provided on some of those, and even better value is how we see it. So, as I mentioned, we have quite a number of ships all around the world, and one of the most well-known is going to be our river ships. Our European longships are really a staple. The river ships is where Viking got its start. We started with actually Russian river cruise ships, and then grew all over Europe. And at this point, we now have 79 river ships in Europe and into Asia and into now even North America. So you see 1997, we just had 4 ships, and we've grown pretty tremendously, and we are continuing to grow. We have more ships coming this year and next year, and continue to grow with the energy sources that we and propulsion. And so we also have some solar on many of our long ships, but really enjoy the growth. You'll see a beautiful design in these ships. You can see the windows all along the ship. They're floor to ceiling. A beautiful Scandinavian design brings in that nice light. And so our guests really like those light colors. As you can see, the bookshelves. So we have our libraries, the aquavit terrace with all that natural light coming in, the alfresco dining, and then our main restaurant there in the bottom right-hand corner. Again, open views throughout so that you can see as you're sailing both sides of the river. You'll see that with all of our vessels, the natural light and the really large windows to give you the experience of the destinations as you travel along. Our long ships, we do have a number of different staterooms. We have some that are French balcony. We have some verandas, some that have a high window in the lower categories, but really want to highlight those destinations and maximize the space. Our guests really enjoy each of the amenities. You can see we have our own brand of Freya body lotions and amenities in the restrooms. And I already highlighted some of the other amenities with the heated floors and all of that, and really a very enjoyable experience for the guests. I had mentioned the offset hallway or corridor on our European longships. The longship was a new design. It is a patented design that brings out the bow of the vessel down on that lower section to really maximize the full used space. So you can kind of see the 2 ships next to each other and how our bow is able to extend out a little bit further. But then the way that space is used allows us, those are generally on that lower section there, to use as crew rooms and some of the more mechanical areas, and then able to maximize the space then to have larger staterooms for our guests. So we really do like to highlight that space. And then that bow space as well is where we have our aquavit terrace, so the alfresco dining, and a really nice scenic area to sit out and watch as we travel along the Rhine and look out at some of the castles and really enjoy the beautiful weather and scenery. Now, an element to sailing on the rivers is always something that comes up, and that's water levels. And because of the water levels and the kind of difficult situations sometimes on the river, we found a way to really get around that, and that's through our identical ships and our ship swaps. So if there ever is a situation where the water is too low or the water is too high and we're not able to pass under a bridge, we always have identical ships sailing in opposite directions, so starting at opposite points, whether that be Amsterdam to Budapest or similar. So one ship will leave each one of those destinations sailing towards one another on a given itinerary. Normally they would just cross and head, past each other. But if there ever is a situation where they cannot cross, the guests will go off on tour for the day. And when they come back to the ship, all of their items will be moved to the other ship, identical stateroom because the ships are identical. Their program director or cruise director will travel with them. So when they get back, virtually everything is set for them, and they continue on their journey on an identical ship, just carrying on. So something that has really played into our overall experience for our guests. And this past year, we didn't have a single sailing on the Rhine-Main or Danube that was impeded and not able to continue because we have the ship swap capability. So it is common in certain times of the year, and so you'll see that, and generally we do share that information with our guests. There is a chance of a ship swap, but overall the guests almost have no feeling, or it doesn't impair the voyage at all. And overall, compared to our competitors, we've found that the guests are very happy with that. I mentioned the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube. Those are kind of the staples of the European river cruising. The Grand European connects all three of those sections. So these are the three highest rated voyages. They're the highest demand. They're more of kind of that entry as well. So a lot of our guests have heard about river cruising. And so this is what brings them in. This is what gets them to come back over and over. And so traveling all through Europe along the Rhine, Main, and Danube is really what we almost say is our bread and butter. We were able to provide such high level service. We have great relationships along the way. And I think you'll find that not only it's easy for you to sell, but it's also a big highlight of our guests, and they're the biggest advocates, and they're able to then market it to their friends and family and bring more. With this year, we were able to add a new itinerary, and that's along the Rhine, a little bit further into the winter, into January. And so this is the Treasures of the Rhine. So it's a little bit slightly different than the standard Rhine getaway, but it still travels from Amsterdam to Basel or vice versa. Has more overnights, but provides the guests a low season, or almost they're going to be on the river by themselves. All the other vessels will be laid up for the winter. And so our guests are going to be able to travel at a really interesting time. It will be a little bit cooler, but a really neat itinerary. We're seeing a good feedback from our guests who are booking it thus far. And I'll keep you updated on feedback once that happens here in January and February. But a really neat new itinerary, and we think it will continue for the future, and I'm very excited. We have a number of other new itineraries, and another one is through France, and it kind of connects the Rhine and the Rhone. So parts of that Rhine getaway, as well as the Rhone. So you'll be able to travel from Amsterdam down to Basel on the vessel. Then you'll bus over to Lyon, where you'll reboard another vessel, and then travel south or vice versa. You can go in both directions, but it does connect both of these itineraries, a unique and new itinerary that we're finding great feedback, and the guests are really enjoying. Now, our new vessels on Egypt's Nile have received incredible feedback. The crew to guest ratio on these vessels, the program managers, the Egyptologists that are on there, it really has had great feedback. And I think you'll find even through the difficult conflict that's happening in that area, the guests that are still going on these voyages truly are having an incredible time. The main parts of the voyages are further down onto the Nile, and the guests really get to have that close-up experience. They'll spend some time in Cairo, and then a charter flight down to board the ship. And then at the end, they'll head back up for their main flights back out of Cairo. So overall, again, the feedback, a chance to go on some really neat excursions, whether that's camelback or even the hot air balloons over some of the deserts. It's really received some incredible photos and experiences. I hope to one day be able to see it, but it is a very hot ticket. So great feedback there. Our Mekong voyages as well, traveling over in the Pacific through the beautiful islands around Cambodia and Thailand. We're able to experience the river with really wonderful crew there as well. So we have Viking Saigon that's over there. It provides a really personal experience as well as cultural experience for our guests. And again, here as well, a hot ticket, a lot of positive feedback, and guests truly do love this itinerary. Now, moving a little bit closer to home, we do have our Viking Mississippi sailing through North America. It's been sailing a little over, coming up on 2 years. The Viking Mississippi does sail from New Orleans all the way up to St. Paul. We have 5 different itineraries. The great thing about this vessel, and you can kind of see it's similar European design to the European longships with that bow and the aquavit terrace. But then the inside design of the vessel, so the second deck and up, is very much of our ocean ships. And so the staterooms are the size of our ocean staterooms. They're all veranda. There are 2 additional styles of stateroom with our terrace suite, and this vessel does have some additional ADA or disability suites as well. So we find that the guests overall have really enjoyed the itineraries. The itineraries do sail, as I mentioned, all the way north to St. Paul and all the way south to New Orleans. The full Mississippi is only navigable really through the summer months for a vessel of this size. So we sailed the Great River as well as the Grand Mississippi from mid-June till the end of September into October. But then on the lower Mississippi, we do sail up to the heart of the Delta, which is Memphis, Tennessee, down to New Orleans throughout the winter, and then really round trips from New Orleans as well. Our guests are finding we're adding some additional time in those ports of call, and the embarkation ports will also have a pre-night stay as part of the itinerary. So it's almost that land cruise package for most of these itineraries. Now, the bulk of my experience has been on our ocean vessels, and so these ships are near and dear to me. I started on our Viking Sun and was able to do a world cruise. 930 passengers, which really is a great number of guests. The guest to crew ratio, 465 crew. So our crew really get to know our guests. It's very personable. The space, you feel like there is a lot of space throughout the vessel. And so we really are proud of these. And so we will continue to build more, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. But our fleet's age, so we're constantly building more vessels, and so our average ship, the oldest is about 6.5 years old. So the average is 4.2 years. Whereas if you look at some of our competitors, they do have much older vessels. So our guests constantly are getting some of the newest, the most beautiful ships. We constantly, every 5 years, we have our dry docks. We replace all of our furniture. We don't want to have low quality, so we are constantly ensuring that everything is beautiful and looking new as well. Here's some of that Scandinavian design again. So the beautiful furniture, some of the beautiful woods. In the top right is our winter garden. That's where we have our afternoon tea. The books and the information that we have throughout the theaters, that we're able to have lectures and beautiful local performances, really are highlights for our guests. I mentioned the growth and building of new vessels. So we just launched the Saturn in April and into May out of Ancona, Italy. We have our next ship, the Vala, is going to be coming out next year. And we continue to grow. Mr. Hagen has a wonderful relationship with Fincantieri, our builder, and they continue to build great ships. I was on the Saturn about a week before its launch, and it was well ready to be launched. It was beautiful. It was ready to go, and we've had nothing but success with our partnership with Fincantieri. The market share that we have, as I mentioned, we do fall in that luxury, though we claim understated elegance. But we have grown to the largest portion of the market share. And our guests really do continue to come back, and we're very proud of that. Part of the other element of the market share is our presence and where we sail. I think it's really neat that we're able to sail the Mediterranean throughout the entire year. So a lot of vessels will sail the Mediterranean in the winter months in North America, and then they'll transition, they'll move to the Caribbean during the winter months, and they will not sail the Med. They'll sail the Med in the summer months. Viking, we do have ships in the Mediterranean throughout the entire year. So these winter months give a chance to see a much calmer or quieter Mediterranean, especially places like Italy, where in the summer months, those museums that don't have as much air conditioning and can be very, very busy, you're able to go and see some of that, even traveling into the Adriatic, into Croatia. Cities and ports like Dubrovnik are much quieter. Though it is a little bit cooler, it's generally not as cold as you have here in the Midwest. So it is still nice to get off and explore through the Mediterranean. You can see, though, we also sail throughout Northern Europe into the Baltic, all the way across through Greenland, over to Canada, New England. Almost everywhere around the world, we're able to touch our presence over in Asia, as well as now into New Zealand and Australia. Our guests really are finding all of those destinations to be wonderful. Our value is something that we're very proud of. And, I shared that I've been in the industry about 10 years, and I've seen that, even as a crew member, the costs for things it's not cheap. So the fact that we don't nickel and dime, we're able to provide so much, adds so much value to the full experience. So the internet, complimentary beer and wine at lunch and dinner, the fact that we have free bottled water. Some cruise lines on day one, they'll offer you promotional items. They'll be able to sell you cases of water, and it all adds up very quickly. Our included shore excursion, really the whole overall experience. As I mentioned, you can sail a full week or two with Viking and not have a single additional charge. And it's really a lot that we're able to provide. And as you can see here, almost $200 in value per day that we're able to provide our guests without additional nickel and diming. Now, our expedition ships are another huge highlight. We have 2 expedition ships that launched within the last 2 years, the Viking Polaris and Octantis. I like to say these are the Ferrari or Lamborghinis of our fleet. Beautiful, elegant. Again, here the crew to guest ratio is really amazing with that 378 guests and 256 crew. You really feel like there's a crew member able to assist at every given moment. The amount of space, as you can see, it is a large ship. And so for that guest number, there really is open space. It's only when you actually go off the gangway to go on your tours that you realize, oh, there's actually a lot of guests on here. But 375 is really a great number. And so our guests find not only the ship to be beautiful, but the destinations that we're able to go to Antarctica and to the Great Lakes. Our voyages down to South America and along and into Antarctica really are unique compared to some of the other vessels that sail there. So you see some of the competitors or some of the other sailings out there are on former, oil ships or more industrial ships. All of our vessels were custom built for this to sail down to Antarctica. And so we've really been able to have that high level of understated elegance with things like the spa, the restaurant, all the elements that make it a beautiful vessel, but still able to reach that southernmost tip and down to Antarctica. Some of the other features are our ability to get through the Drake Passage as smooth as possible. So Drake's Passage kind of be one of those tough things. It's either the Drake Strait the Drake Shake or the Drake Lake. And so we find that, when it does have that rough seas and the Drake Shake, things like our stabilizers and our U tanks, where we're able to move the water to provide the most smooth sailing through that, really does play a part in the overall guest experience. The dynamic positioning is another element that really highlights our ability to get into unique areas of Antarctica. So dynamic positioning really allows the ship to sit in one position without having to drop anchor or keep our full engines and thrusters going. This is a smaller propulsion system that allows the ship to sit in one position there in Antarctica, again, without having to drop anchor. So we're able to provide the guests with full experiences over to land in areas that might not be accessible to many other vessels. Now, with the beautiful technology that we have, we also have, again, that understated elegance. This is the Explorer's Lounge on deck number 5 forward. It's very similar to our ocean ships, but provides a chance for our guests to see Antarctica or the Great Lakes in a nice, relaxing setting. There are books. There's also the main bar, one level down. As the guests travel through Antarctica, they can really be full of comfort while on board the ship, and still be so close to Antarctica itself. Now, for the outside features, we do have our Finsa Terrace, which is out on the aft section, and it goes way out just above the hangar, which is where all of our toys are. But the guests are able to enjoy. There's some nice steam-driven fireplaces out there, and so the guests truly can experience Antarctica up close. The center picture on the right is of our staterooms. So they do have a Nordic balcony. So the window comes all the way down. The guests are able to enjoy from the comfort of their room the beauty of the outdoors, as well as there's some pictures there of the spa, as well as one of the pools on the aft near the World Cafe. Now, traveling to Antarctica is a big thing for our guests, but we've also been able to make it meaningful for science. And so we are a NOAA weather station, so we collect information, and we also send off weather balloons to help recover more information about the weather changes. So Viking has been doing a lot to work with Cambridge, as well as a number of other institutions throughout the world, to really grow the information and knowledge of sailing to Antarctica, as well as the Great Lakes. One of the places that we can highlight some of the science is through our lab, as well as the Aula Theater. So this main theater has a screen that comes down. It's able to close up, but also a space where you can take in the natural beauty. Our expedition team of about 25 expert scientists and expedition leaders will be able to share all of the information here in these spaces. The Expedition Central in the center of the ship is also there 24 hours a day for guests to explore, but also a chance for them to meet with the expedition team and gain more knowledge. Here's a look at as the ship heads into the Great Lakes through the Welland Canal. As you can see, the beam or the width of the ship is 77 feet, and the canal is 78. So it's job security for our deck team in painting the side of the ship, but we were able to get through. I've passed through about 6 or 7 times. Really is quite the experience going through the Welland Canal, much smoother than over Niagara Falls. But we're able to sail then from Toronto into the Great Lakes, sailing all 5 of the Great Lakes, and able to really see a lot of the areas where many ships don't go. So going up into the Georgian Bay, many people have been to, say, Milwaukee or Cleveland, but actually going up in that upper peninsula and into the Georgian Bay is a great experience, and many have not done that. It's also very close to home, so flying to Toronto is much easier. So we do see a little bit older demographic in the Great Lakes, as it's much more convenient not having to travel all the way over to Europe or down to South America. So quite convenient for these itineraries. Now, heading into next year, we do have some new itineraries heading up north, and these are going to sail from Toronto and from Nuuk, heading into the Arctic Circle and from Greenland up into the Arctic. Again, some wonderful experiences. Again, we'll be able to send off the weather balloons and perform a lot of science in these new itineraries, but giving really the guests a chance to see the Arctic as well as Antarctica, and so more and more experiences for our guests. Now that's kind of a big wrap up of our vessels itself. Now, being a main partner with Viking, I hope that you're able to see the benefits for yourself as well as our clients. Our clients really are able to grow and to know and to trust Viking. The word of mouth is huge with Viking, and our guests are almost our own brand ambassadors, and we see that word of mouth is huge, and our clients generally already know about Viking. A lot of them will come in to an agency and they'll say, I want to take a Viking cruise, not knowing really that there are others out there. Obviously there are, and there's a demographic for each one of them, and we think there's enough for everyone. So don't feel if there's somebody that doesn't fit the Viking kind of, educated, affluent, English speaking, there are other brands for them. But we really do have that main client, and they know it. They trust us, and we're very proud of that. Another thing that we're very proud of is our ability to provide you with things like the direct booking takeover. So if a guest does decide to book directly with our sales team, as I said, we're a marketing machine, so we're sending out lots of information to guests all the time. So if they do call directly to our sales office and then reach out to you, you are able to take over those bookings within 60 days. If they've ever traveled, previously with you, you can take that over up until 30 days before the departure. Again, so this is a nice way, whether they book on board or they book directly with our office, our direct sales team, you can take over those bookings. And really, we think that that's something that provides so much for our guests, and excited for you to take over these bookings. With those bookings, the no NCFs, or the ability to earn commission on all aspects of the booking, is a big thing as well. So every element, whether that's port charges and fees, whether that's additional shipboard credit, any of the excursions, pre or post cruise experiences, everything is commissionable. So please do feel free, reach out to me if you have questions about any of the itineraries or the excursions. I know them quite well, but I do think it is worth doing these through Viking. The partnerships that we have all around the world are quite strong, and to ride in comfort on our European river cruises and then onto our own buses as you travel around, it is very nice to travel on the excursions with Viking. Our business development team is really here for you, but we've really set it up with so many tools, not only through myself and my colleagues. Hopefully you find that our website and everything is very navigable. Now, we do find a lot of our guests are comfortable traveling by themselves, but a lot of them enjoy traveling together. So 47% of our guests do travel with another couple. And so you'll see, especially after that first voyage, a lot of times they will bring in another couple or a few guests to join them. We do have our recognition for that. So guests can refer a friend or another couple, and that is recognized. So if you see that, please do let the booking agent know when you call, or add that to the booking. Groups is a big thing with your agency, and I'm going to highlight that a little bit more here, just a little bit, as MOA is a big part of the business. And so I will let you know that groups, we have two very strong individuals that help us with our groups, and there's some benefits to that. So we're excited to offer Brenco and MOA some additional group sales coming up. So John can share a little bit more, but we do have 3 different sailings. We're going to have one through the Danube, and so that's going to be an 8-day itinerary offered to the MOA guests, and that's going to be coming out in December. We'll also be offering an Alaskan Inside Passage voyage. That'll be from Seward to Vancouver. Really a nice way to see the Inside Passage. Again, there are pre and post. A lot of people ask about Denali. They want to spend some extra time there. So we do have a Denali pre-extension available for that itinerary as well. And then also the Antarctica Explorer. So this sails from Ushuaia down to Antarctica. Again, group sailings for all 3 of those itineraries are going to be available. Big push there in December. But if you ever have groups that are looking at traveling together, again, our 2 gentlemen, Vlad and Roger, can get you set up. There's some incentives to that, but also just a nice touch to get everybody to travel together. Again, our rebookings, a lot of the guests enjoy, and they will come back, and we want to make that as convenient and as easy as possible. Again, providing your guests with great experience, but also a great value. And so the size of our stateroom, really everything that we're able to offer, we want to make sure that all of that value is passed on to our guests. A big thing a lot of people ask about that pay in full. Part of our value is being able to have that policy. It's different than many others, and so sometimes we get a little bit of pushback. But the value we're able to provide is because we're able to lock in so many things by having our guests pay in full. We have a lot less of our guests who cancel and rebook other itineraries. We don't have to resell rooms multiple times because once somebody has paid in full, they really have committed to that voyage. And you see here that, based on square footage and the promotions that we provide, the value really is there for whether it be our river cruises or our ocean and expedition as well. Now, I mentioned making things easy. Hopefully you found that our travel agent portal is quite easy for you. So many resources there for you. We want to make sure that everything is there to make the booking process, as well as the benefits, things like the rewards there for you. So please do take a look. If you have not used it that much, please try. Reach out to me if you have any questions. There's things like our marketing material where you can add your name, you can add the company logo, you can add signatures and digital banners. Really, we have so many materials allowing you to share this with your guests, our clients, a chance for you to get the name out there. You also can order additional items if you would like to have more brochures to give out to our guests. Generally, each one of our guests will receive about 3 to 4 brochures every month. But if you'd like to have some more for yourself, please let me know. 10 of them can be ordered through the site. Otherwise, we can add additional to get out to you as well. Again, so many different items, things like our full brochures. We do have our World of Viking that highlights all of the itineraries. Again, the pricing does change each month, but this is a way to really see each one of the ships, the vessels, and share a little bit about the story of Viking as well. So many items out there for marketing material. Obviously, you can pull images from Google, but we do have some very nice images as well as our logo library. So please do feel free to pull things from there. They are for you to use. And another resource I mentioned earlier is Viking.tv. A lot of our guests will utilize that to learn more about itineraries, our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Our demographic does use Facebook quite a bit. You'll see on the Viking fans page that there's quite a following. I follow it just to kind of see what the buzz is as well. So please do take a look there and take advantage of that. I know I think almost all of your agency, everybody has done the Travel Agent Academy. If you have not, there is the benefit of an additional $100 per booking on the Visa rewards card after. So please If you have not done the Travel Advisor Academy, it is a great benefit to you as well as financially to you. So please, if you have any questions, let me know. With that, I've said quite a bit, but oh, actually, I do want to highlight, let me jump through to we've got our resources on board, but I want to highlight a few of our resources. So we have the reservations team, which I know many of you have worked closely with. I know the groups team as well, who I just mentioned. The air department, we are growing with our air department. We've added more agents, and we're working to ensure that we're giving the highest quality with the air department as well as our customer relations. But this is the part that I'm really excited about. Our Air Ambassador program is something brand new. We really haven't shared too much about it, but at Heathrow as well as Schiphol Amsterdam, we have air ambassadors that are at the gates that are able to welcome guests and also assist them to get from one gate to another. So anybody that has booked Viking Air does have, they'll have a list. They are through security. They'll be in our red polos, and they'll be able to assist guests to get from one gate to another, making sure that their connections or going through any customs is much smoother. So this Air Ambassador program, something that we look to grow, and we're going to add them to more airports. But it's a little bit of an element of surprise and that extra bit for our guests. We also now have a TripMate insurance help desk. So it's a dedicated line specifically for Viking policies. So any of your guests that have any questions, comments, concerns with their TripMate insurance, this is a dedicated line specifically for Viking with TripMate. And so again, if there's anything that you need or they need, it's dedicated for Viking. This is a wonderful picture. I love this picture mostly because I'm in red in the left-hand side. This is from our world cruise, but a lot of companies like to say it's one family, and I have to say that with Viking, especially on something like a world cruise, you really do get to feel like a family. Though 84 different nationalities, the retention, the way that this company does treat its crew, then bleeds into how we treat our guests. And so I hope that you find our guests enjoy sailing with Viking as much as our crew enjoy working for Viking, and really continue to win awards and show the passion of sailing the world in comfort. So that is all I have for you today. I'm here to answer any questions. I know that was a bunch. I hopefully didn't take up too much of your time. But is there anything that I missed or you'd like for me to touch on at all?
Yes. The $100 after completing the training.
Yes.
Is that something you have to request? I've never done that and didn't realize that was a benefit.
Yeah. So when you complete there's 4 modules, one that covers Viking overall, and then one for river, oceans, and one for expedition. When you've completed all 4 of those modules, this is a new Viking Academy, so it launched this year. So when you've completed those 4 modules, the next 30 days, there's an additional $100 benefit to the Visa gift card in My Rewards.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I guess another thing with $100, in the month of December, we are going to do $100 shipboard credit for all bookings. So that's going to be across the board to any new bookings through your IATA. So any new bookings that are made, you'll be able to add that as a benefit to new bookings. And Kristen, we'll work on how we're going to promote that or get that out. But
Yep, it'll go out in the e-newsletter.
Okay.
In December. It'll go out December 1st, and then we're also doing in our e-newsletter interview with Brett on Viking. So we're promoting a lot of stuff of Viking in December.
Go
again,
Viking.
hopefully hopefully it's easy for you to make those bookings. The guests, should have the knowledge, and we want to make it easy.
Well, Brett, thank you for your time,
Thank
going
you.
through with the agents and everything. Do you have something in writing you could send me on that $100
Yes.
on the, and is that on every booking they make or just the first booking they make after they finish the training?
It should be every booking in that first 30 days.
Oh, 30 days after you complete the training,
Correct.
every booking you make, you get a bonus $100.
Correct. So,
and you mentioned this is new training. So if people did the training a year ago or further, they can do it again and be
Correct.
eligible for that.
That's correct.
All righty.
Because it highlights a lot of the new, in the last 2 years, we've added so much, especially with our expedition.
You've added a couple of ships.
Yeah. I think it's probably in the last 3 years, I think there's about 25 ships. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. A couple.
Yeah. So three brands, 4 with Egypt and everything too. Yeah. So good.
Good.
I'll send some information about that.
Thank you.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day. And again, feel free to reach out anytime if there's any questions.
Thanks, Brett. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.